Hi, good evening. Welcome to Literature of Austin. My name is Matthew Augustine, and today we'll be looking at a poem written by Taylor Swift titled Why She Disappeared. And as usual, we'll just go over the poem and talk about some of my favorite literary devices that Taylor used in this poem. And then, in addition, we'll try and find meaning to the whole poem. And anyway, let's just get started. So, as usual, before we even get start doing anything, would want to talk about the title, why she disappeared. And I must say, this poem is it's biographical, autobiographical specifically in a way because Taylor wrote it herself. So the poem was very autobiographical. And for context, there was a time in Taylor's life when the music industry really did I'd say did Taylor dirty. I don't really want to go into the specifics about the events that transpired that around that time, but I believe you can go ahead and Google about what happened at that time. But I think it happened around 2015, 2014. I know in addition to the fact that the music industry did Taylor dirty, the whole public in the public's eyes, Taylor's reputation was destroyed. And Taylor decided to disappear from the public eyes for quite a while. I think for was it 1 year, a bit 2 years? I'm not really that sure. But Taylor literally disappeared from the public eyes for a while, and then when she reappeared. She produced the album Reputation, and Reputation literally talks about Taylor's reputation and how that all those events surrounding that time affected her on an emotional level and also affected her reputation. So this poem, Why She Disappeared, is like I would say an ode. Is it an ode? No, it's probably like a reference to that time period. So Taylor literally told us, we the reader or we her fans, why she disappeared and how to her or how she felt during that period of time. So let's get started. So when she fell apart, cracked her bones on the pavement she once decorated as a child with sidewalk chalk. When she crashed, her clothes disintegrated and blew away with the winds that took all her fair weathered friends. So let's talk. So right off the bat, we're already introduced to like the whole story. So Taylor fell and she fell apart. For me, like of course we know what it means to fall. Fall can have a lot of different connotations or different meaning. When you fall, you get yourself injured. When you fall, sometimes by mistake, you fall on a metaphorical level. The act of falling, you being put kept on a pedestal and then you fell. So you fell from grace, or Taylor fell from grace in the eyes of the public. And then I love that when she fell apart. It's possible for you to just fall and you just fall and it's not as if you got significantly injured, maybe just a bruise here and there. But Taylor fell apart. Reminds me of an egg. When an egg falls, yeah, the egg literally scatters. The yolk and the white and the shell is just tossed all around the place, and that's such a very beautiful image. The fact of you falling apart. It kind of adds this heaviness to the act of she falling. And I love the next line where she says she cracked her bones on the pavement she once decorated as a child with sidewalk chalk. First of all, I love that, I love that sidewalk chalk. Do you hear how it sounds? Sounds very nice. But still, as a child, at least I remember myself when I was a child. I had this habit of literally writing everywhere. And my parents can really testify to that. Our old house, it was literally littered with pencil marks all over the walls. As that time, some I'm learning how to write and all those stuff. And Taylor literally was writing on the floor, like the pavements. We know what the pavements is like, the border of the road where pedestrians usually walk on. And Taylor was sitting down there. As a child, she had this habit of writing there. Of course, that is all. This is just metaphorical. She's not actually writing there, but she's just in. As a child, she had this habit of writing there. She learnt a lot at the pavement, but still at the same pavement, she broke. She fell apart at the pavement. And I love that, it is somewhere like a place where she had this safety or security or this, protection. She fell and got herself destroyed at that place. I don't know if there's nothing as horrible, if there's anything more horrible, I can't really imagine. A place that you found solace, you found peace, you found, you know, and then that's where you fell. That's where you got destroyed. And I love that when she crashed, her clothes disintegrated with the wind that took all her fair weathered friends. As she's falling, the clothes that was wrapped around her body, literally just burnt away. It kind of creates this imagery of her clothes literally catching on fire and then just disintegrated. And you know, if she's left without clothes, she's naked. And I don't know if you are naked at the sidewalk is literally a public place. I would say she got humiliated at that point. And of course, that actually happened. Taylor was literally humiliated in real life. And when she fell, her clothes, her protection got stripped away from her. And she stood or she was naked on the floor, at the sidewalk. And I love that her fair weather friends. Of course, we know what they mean. Fair weather friends is literally like it's an idiom. Your friends that are just there for you when you have all this good, all this rosy and everything. And so when she fell, her clothes got torn away, and as it got stripped away, it also took away all her fair weather friends, all the friends that they were just there for when life was rosy and everything. So I don't know that the first two verses it's kind of setting up the tone for Taylor getting humiliated at wherever the sidewalk represented. For me, the sidewalk represented her whole life. So let's continue. When she looked around, her skin was spattered with ink, forming the words of a thousand voices, echoes she heard even in her sleep. Whatever you say, it is not right. Whatever you do, it is not enough. Your kindness is fake. Your pain is manipulative. When she lay there on the ground, she dreamt of time machines and revenge and a love that was really something, not just the idea of something. So let's talk. So now she's on the ground, she's on the ground, she's just looking around, did anybody see her? That for me, that's what that line means. Did anybody see? And I love this. Her skin was spattered. That spattered. This word spattered. For me, it sounds like when paint or when ink drops on a place. That sound that it makes something like from that how that spattered sounds like. You know, her skin was spattered with ink. Again, still referring to the Reputation album. If you actually look at the album, her skin was literally covered with ink all around. Her skin was covered with ink, and I feel that is a very that's kind of a haunting imagery. So when she looked around, her skin was spattered with ink. She has fallen. Her clothes are destroyed, and I love that ink. The ink covering the ink literally covering every surface of her skin. Your skin is like your protection. I don't know how. For me, if your skin is spattered with ink, the skin is supposed to protect you. Ink is quite harmful for the skin. It's cancerous. And then she has lost her clothes, and then now she's losing her skin again. Of course, like I said, all this is just figurative. So her skin was spattered with ink. The only protection left was poisoned. And I love that. So it was poisoned with ink, and I love that. What did the ink form on her skin? It formed words, and not those words, 1,000 words, 1,000 voices. Again, tying back to the public's view of Taylor's reputation as this kind of at this time. So the 1,000 voices formed a lot of words, kind of critical words or criticizing words. Even in her sleep, she could hear those voices. And what the voices say is, whatever you say, it's not right. Whatever you do, it is not enough. Your kindness is fake. Your pain is manipulative. I don't know if we've had this experience where again it reminds me of this song Anti Hero, again written by Taylor Swift. Um I don't know. Have you? I don't know. Have you ever had this feeling where you're in a scenario and then everyone is just saying these horrible things about you, that or whatever you're doing, as if you planned it. You planned it out for something to happen. I don't know. It feels very awful. It feels awful to me for her to have these words on her mind 2/7, playing even while she's asleep. And again, this factor like the ink, forming on her skin, it's kind of like showing all these words to the whole public again. I don't know. It feels very awful, sha, for me. What Taylor probably was feeling around that time. Whatever you say is fake. Whatever you say is kindness is fake. Everything about you is manipulative. And I love this. Your pain is manipulative. The pain. Some people at least they wear their emotion on their shoulder. That's not a bad thing, but it's bad if you are using your pain to manipulate people. You're using your pain to kind of get um get pity from the crowd. And so your pain, according to the public's point of view, Taylor's pain was manipulative. Her kindness was fake. Whatever she did, it was just not enough. And then whatever she said, she couldn't say it right. And I love the next verse says this: when she lay there on the ground, she dreamed of time machines and revenge. Who's she trying to seek revengeance from? And I love this dreaming. Sometimes dreams might happen, sometimes dreams might not happen. And so in her dream, again, still ties back to the fact that she was sleeping. She heard these words even in her sleep. So why she dreamt of time machines. Time machines, I don't know. It reminds me of what can a time machine do? A time machine can take you back in time. It can take you towards the future. For me, Taylor was saying she dreamt of the future in a way. How would life be like without, like, how would life be like in the future? I don't know that from that road that line reminds me of time. She dreamt of time machines, and then how was like life like in the past? Was this something that she could have done to, you know, kind of not set herself up for this thing? I know we sometimes have this experience where you've committed something and you just look back in time. Could I have done this stuff in a better way? Something of that nature. So while she was on the ground, again, she's still exposed on the ground. Remember, she has broken her elbow, she's broken her knees, her bones. She's still on the ground, and then her clothes are gone. And she's still on the ground. People are passing, people are watching. She dreamt of time machines and revenge. Revenge probably to the people that said those horrible things about her. Probably the guy who, like I said, I don't really want to get into the details of what happened around that time. You can always Google it up. But probably she's trying to seek vengeance against those stuff. And then she also dreamt of her love being something and not just the idea of something. She dreamt of her love being actually real, not just the idea of um not just the idea of love. This idea of love where you think you love this person, but you don't really love this person. So let's continue. So when she finally rose, she rose slowly, avoiding old haunts and sidestepping shiny pennies, wary of phone calls and promises, charmers, dandies, and get love quick schemes. When she stood with a desolate knowingness, waded out into the dark, wild ocean, up to her neck, bathed in brokenness, said a prayer of gratitude for every chink in the armor she never knew she needed. So let's talk. So now she has gotten the courage to, like I said, she has been on the ground all this while, like at least for the first few verses we've gone over. But now she's finally rising up. She's learning from those mistakes. And when she finally rose, she rose slowly. She learned slowly. I know. This kind of, you've learned from your mistakes. For me, that's what it feels like. Avoiding old haunts and sidestepping shiny pennies. I love this verse. This verse, there's a lot of repetition of the sidestepping shiny pennies, wary of phone calls and promises, charmers, dandies, and get love quick schemes. So a lot of repetition of the sound, the each sound, and it's very beautiful. Okay, so let's continue. So avoiding old haunts and sidestepping shiny pennies. So what does that mean? Old haunts, old gossip, old stories. She avoided them. She didn't really talk about them. She didn't get into them. She avoided those old haunts, sidestepping shiny pennies. Like pennies. What does pennies remind me of? Pennies in literature usually represent good luck. Good luck. And then I love the fact that it's shiny. Shiny pennies, sidestepping shiny pennies. I'm not sure what sidestepping means, but my suspect to what this line could mean is, avoiding old haunts, that's avoiding old stories, old gossips about her, sidestepping shiny pennies. Oh God, I'll do a research and I'll drop in the comments section. So wary of phone calls and promises. So again, in the course of this horrible scandal that had happened, she didn't, you have this feeling that, I don't know if you've had a scandal or something horrible happens to you, if you're owing someone, you'll be wary of phone calls. You wouldn't want to pick up if you see a strange number calling, you wouldn't want to pick it up, immediately. I know, I love this wary, the fact that she's wary of it. Being wary means, you know, kind of hyperactive, wary of phone calls, taking active steps not to pick up phones anyhow, calls anyhow. She was also wary of promises. I want to believe promises represents like lovers. So she was wary of promises, charmers, dandies, and get love quick schemes. Get love quick. And I love that. Taylor is normally supposed to be get rich quick schemes, but she specifically changed it to get love quick schemes. Taylor is the queen of she's the queen of diction. So she kind of switched off what we'd normally expect. Instead of get rich quick scheme, we have get love quick scheme. And I love, of course, what does get rich quick scheme? Schemes that are designed to get you rich quickly. For example, kidnapping. Another example could be Another example could be, doing all these some shady online businesses like AI channels and the rest. I know. So she was wary of those, and get rich quick scheme. So what does get love quick scheme then mean? Get love quick scheme could probably mean, get fall in love quickly. And one thing with Taylor is, at least Taylor's reputation, even till now, Taylor is usually known for someone who dates a lot of people, in succession. At least that's the public's, even till now, the public's view of her. She has had a lot of boyfriends, and the rest. But Taylor was very wary of those, trying to fall in love quickly. And again, what do you think could have caused her to, be protective of the fact that she'd not want to fall in love quickly? For me, it probably was due to the fall that she had, in the fall from the public eye view. Charmers and dandies. I want to believe dandies, these charmers and dandies. I'm not really sure of what those words could mean, but I really want to believe charmers and dandies could represent something. I believe it's connotates something good. That's sure. I'll also drop what those words probably meant in the comment section. So let's continue. So when she stood with a desolate loneliness, waded out into the dark, wild ocean up to her neck, bathed in her brokenness, said a prayer of gratitude for each chink in the armor she never knew she needed. Standing broad shouldered next to her was a love that was really something, not just the idea of something. So let's talk. Again, like remember, she at this point she finally rose. She fell, she stood on the floor, she was in the process of rising, and now she's standing. When she stood with a desolate knowingness. It kind of reminds me of, when you've fallen, you've passed through some form of mistakes. You pass through those mistakes, and now you stand better. You stand, you know, with a kind of like, better. You know better. At least reminds me of this expression, twice beaten, one shy. Twice beaten, one shy. So you've fallen, you've gone through a lot of purging or purification or all those stuff. You've learnt your lesson, and now you are standing up. You know what could have happened, what could have caused it, and all those kind of stuff. That's what that line reminds me of. And again, it's waded out. She waded out into the dark, wild ocean up to her neck. I don't know. I believe this picture. I believe this picture. That's where it. So when she stood, she stood with a desolate knowing. This beautiful picture here that I don't know. I'm not sure if I've said, but I found it on Pinterest, and I actually loved that picture. So think of waded into the dark, wild ocean of Suhane. Think of, you know, I think of like your boss. Not your boss. Let's assume you are on a ship, and God forbid the ship capsized, and you are trying to swim away, from those horrible something, and then you wade out into the ocean up to your neck. If you have water like up to your neck, for me it feels very scary. It feels scary if you're at the ocean. The ocean is usually filled with a lot of I don't want to say horrible creatures, but at least it's filled with a lot of scary creatures. We have all sharks in the ocean, we have dolphins in the ocean, we have things like even horrible, like deadly bacteria and viruses also in the ocean. The ocean is also known for things like octopi. I think octopi is the plural of octopuses. So you have things like octopi, along a variety of other. You even have jellyfish, nematodes, along so many other things. I know, being in the wild, the ocean is really dark. The ocean is dark. You don't really know what's happening underneath the ocean, and she waded out into the ocean. She waded out into the world, and wild ocean up to her neck. That I don't know. It feels very scary. She waded out into the world. I believe the ocean represents the world. At least now she has stood up, she knows better. I know she went into the world. I know she bathed in her brokenness. You know, the lesson she has learned, she bathed with it. She literally like absorbed it, trying to again bathing, getting yourself clean, getting yourself purged, getting yourself purified. And so she bathed in her brokenness. She got herself clean thanks to her brokenness. And it reminded me of this saying that sometimes you have to fall to actually get yourself. You have to fall to get better. And so Taylor literally was bathed in her brokenness. She said the prayer of gratitude for every chink in the armor she never knew she needed. This word chink, I believe it's an onomatopoeia, where you are describing a sound using words. So for me, that word chink, it reminds me of, first of all, an armor is used to protect yourself. When you put on an armor, it's to shield yourself from any hurtful thing that could happen to you. Trying to keep yourself all protected. Kind of wish. And then a chink reminds me of like an arrow. If an arrow is shot into your armor, it makes that sound, a chink, a chink. So she said the prayer of gratitude. So what do you think that arrow could represent? For me, it represented those horrible things that were said about her, those awful reputation, like all those awful scandalous words that we know they were said about her. I know she said a prayer of gratitude for every of those words that she that was thrown at her. And of course, she never knew she needed it. And again, like I said, it still reminds me of that scene. Sometimes we have to fall to get back up. So she said a word of prayer for every of those hurtful words that were said at her, all those hurtful things that were launched at her, and then she didn't know that she happened. And I believe now Taylor knows better. Now Taylor, she has this. She came out more resilient, more resilient. What doesn't kill makes you stronger. So let's continue. So and then now that she has stood up, standing broad shoulder next to her was a love. I love the fact that love was personified to the fact that love was able to stand broad shouldered. again, a love that was really something, not just the idea of something. Reminds me of this line. Where was itself? Okay, she dreamed of time machines and revenge and a love that was really something, and not just the idea of something again. So her dreams finally came true. So let's continue. When she turned to go home, she heard the echoes of new words. May your heart remain breakable, but never by the same hand twice. And even louder, without your past, you could never have arrived so wondrously and brutally by design or some violent, exquisite happenstance here. And in the depth of her reputation, she felt truly alive. So let's talk. So now, she has fallen, she stayed on the ground, she was in the process of rising up, she stood, and now she's turning to go home. Again, that your home is kind of like your everything, your place of rest, your place where you grew up. So she turned home. Again, she's going home now. She's going home resilient. She's going home with more like she went home with a lot of more experience. You know, the fact that she had been broken and then she stood up, she's going home kind of with more experience. And the AD, apologies, there was a power outage. Thank God they've even brought it back. So anyway, let's continue. Where did we stop? Okay, I think we stopped here when she turns to go. So, like I said, she now that she has gotten out of this experience, the experience of her falling, she got home, or she went home with more than she started with more experience. And she heard the echoes of new words. May your heart remain breakable, but never by the same hand twice. I love the first of all, I didn't even talk about the word echoes as used in the previous verse and this verse. For me, that word echoes, it's an echo is something that it's continually like on and 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 on. A word, something that you hear continually. And hearing these words, whatever you say, it is not right. Whatever you do, it is not enough. Your kindness is fake. Your pain is manipulative. I don't know. If you hear that as an echo for me, I don't think any sane person will be able to survive. So anyway, Jesus, Downism, that was a mistake. So let's continue. So now, instead of hearing all those hurtful words, look at what she heard. Now she's hearing a different word. May your heart remain breakable, but never by the same hand twice. May your heart, that is, you know, reminds me of this again, still reminds me of this saying that, twice beaten, once shy. So if you experience this thing again, let it not be by the same hand, by the same people. We can also think of this, like, we can also view it from a different perspective. Your heart represents love, the people that you love. So if your heart is breaking, or if your heart remains breakable, like, let it not be broken by the same set of people twice, by the same person twice. So let's continue. And even louder, without your past, you could never have arrived so wondrously and brutally by some design or some violent, exquisite happenstance. So again, that verse reminds me of this song. Though it was not written, the song was not like the song didn't really exist at this time when it was written. But it reminds me of this song, "Thank You, Amy." In that song, "Thank You, Amy," Taylor really talked about, she talked about this experience that she went through, and then she thanked one person. I don't really, um, she thanked someone there, one of the characters there, because the character was literally one of those people who spread this hurtful, violence against her, and "Thank You, Amy" really talked about that. And then, so she's saying that, so in that song, she also said that, she had a lot of things. Now, look at her now. Taylor is like among those, I think, in the music industry. if you say Taylor Swift, that's a very it's a very that's a very big name. In fact, in Nigeria here, sef, at least at this point in time, there should not be anybody that does not know who Taylor Swift is. You may not like her, you may not hear her music, you may not know her, but you should, you know, like you have an experience with who she is. Like she's among the the top 10 on 10 most viewed artists on Spotify. You know, she's very, I would say she's very huge. And then she couldn't have had all this if she didn't fall. If she didn't learn her lesson, she couldn't have had all this. And I love this you could never have arrived. You know, it makes it gives it this journey or this journey effect of, you arriving, you journeying from the known to the you journeying from the known to the unknown, and back to the known. So she had, so I like I said, I love this. You could never have arrived, arrived at where she is now, so wondrously and I love this words, wondrously and brutally. Those are great example of word choices. So um first of all, the arrival was beautiful, the arrival was everything, and then brutally, the brutality of, all this, the whole story that happened, and then by design or some violence. And I love this, either did she plan it, where she was now, or some violent, exquisite happenstance. A happenstance is simply something that, you didn't really expect it to happen, and there we have it. And so I love this, the fact that, she put this here, or she made this here start on the next line. So even louder, without your fast, you could never have arrived here. That's what she's saying. So you could never have gotten to where you are. And this is from my whole, or from the whole poem of everything. I think this is my favorite line. And in the death of her reputation, she felt truly alive. With everything that happened, she felt everything. When her reputation was broken, when her reputation was destroyed, even the word death, I don't know, it has this serious, heavy connotation with it all. So in the death of her reputation, she felt alive. She felt she didn't need her reputation. So anyway, I know this analysis was very shallow at best, but still, this is one of my favorite poems written by Taylor Swift. Or it's not like, unlike other what we've been doing. At least the last video that we made, we had made a reacted to a song. This is actually a real poem. Oh dear, what was happened? Okay, sorry about that. So this is actually a real poem that Taylor wrote herself. So that's my honest interpretation. To me, this this poem talked about, your reputation, the importance of you having to fall, the importance of learning from your mistake. That, for me, that's what this poem really highlighted. Taylor now is she's a really big name in the music industry, but she couldn't have gotten there if she didn't fall. So that's just my honest interpretation of the song, the poem "Why She Disappeared." So anyway, see you. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing to your friends and loved ones. So see you next time. I remain Austin Matthew. Thank you.